I take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Governor and the entire leadership of the county government of Siaya for inviting EACC to carry out corruption risk assessment into systems, policies, procedures, and practices of your county. Indeed, this is an indication of the leadership of the county government of Siaya desires and aspires for effective mechanisms of enhancing good governance and accountability. Rightly, as state and public officers, we are expected to be persons who uphold national values and principles of governance, as envisioned in Article 10 and Article 252 of the Constitution, which we know our governor has spearheaded for many years. It is upon this backdrop of corruption prevention that the Commission, in partnership with Siaya County, is undertaking the corruption risk assessment exercise. After the corruption risk assessment exercise, the recommendations will be made with a view of enhancing service delivery and seal any identified loopholes identified in the course of the examination. As we have said, we are not coming to investigate, we are just coming to partner in the preventive arm. Allow me to mention that the assessments have been a continuous engagement with the county governments, and in the past we have done in 24 counties. We are proud to report that in 2021, the Senate acknowledged that counties which are implementing recommendations from previous assessments by EACC, that they are setting strong work systems. Through the CRAs, we have noted weaknesses, we have noted loopholes, and we have noted opportunities for improvement. And when this is identified, we find that we are able to identify areas of unethical practices which leads to pillage, theft, wastage of public resources, and also denying our public the much desired services. In undertaking the CRA, which we are launching today, this team will flag out quick wins for immediate implementation, guided by the following terms of reference. Number one, we'll study the existing work systems, the policies, the guidelines, the procedures, practices, and methods of work which we are applying at the county assembly and also at the county executive. We'll also analyze the degree of adherence to policies, guidelines, and procedures. We'll ascertain the effectiveness of the systems in order to enhance integrity in operations for the county, executive, and assembly. We'll also identify and profile areas of weaknesses, loopholes, and prepare a report of the findings, which will make appropriate recommendations for necessary action. I therefore request for full cooperation and provision of documents throughout this exercise. The documentation and information gathered in the course of this exercise will be handled with utmost confidentiality. The officers we have identified to undertake this exercise have been fully briefed, and I'm very confident of their competence, their professionalism, and capability to undertake this assignment successfully.
Would want to guarantee you, just like the speaker has, that you'll be free to get any information, any document from the county executive, talk to any person, any state officer or public officer in regard to the activity that you're undertaking, the better part of this month. And the emphasis is, because our Constitution sets very high principles of governance. Good governance, transparency and accountability. And when you go to the chapter dealing with public finance, it requires that there should be prudent use of public finance. These very high constitutional principles require that when you are undertaking a public activity that involves public resources, we should undertake those processes having in focus the constitutional principles that I've talked about. Earlier on, when we were talking to the delegations from the Commission in the office, I mentioned that the citizens of Kenya found it necessary to create independent offices and commissions so that they have an insurance policy. Instead of just relying on the two traditional arms of government, the county, or three arms of government, the county assembly or parliaments, which includes the national parliament, the Senate, and the National Assembly. And at the level of counties, we have the county assembly. Those are the first arm of government, being parliaments at the national level and at the county level. Then you have the executive and the judiciary. Under our constitutional dispensation, we have independent offices and commissions. And these commissions have powers donated to them by the Constitution and the law. Therefore, I want to assure you that I value prevention.